And welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I am Buckeye Boggs. That man over there is the wild man, Chris Wilds, who's telling everybody to shh. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell Purdue to shh this year when we go into West Lafayette this year, man. First off, before we get into this, make sure you watch this entire video.
Yes.
We are joined by the Boiler Express guys. And this show, no pun intended, goes off the rails. So you are definitely going to want to stick around for that. But Chris, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's talk about Purdue historically and the season they had last year first. And so without any further ado, here is the 2022 season for Purdue and in the history behind the Boilermakers. So last season they were 8-4 in the regular season. They did win the Big Ten West, Chris, which was interesting. And they got to play in Indianapolis. They got to travel a few miles south from West Lafayette to Indianapolis before getting absolutely dismantled by the eventual Big Ten champs from Ann Arbor. And then they went to the Citrus Bowl and got absolutely blitzkrieged
Yeah.
by LSU. Which led to Jeff Brom. By the way, before that even bowl game even happened, he left the program and went back to his alma mater of Louisville to be the Cardinals head coach. In steps this year, Ryan Walters, the former defensive coordinator over at Illinois. This will be his first season there in West Lafayette. Ross-Ade Stadium, that's the home field for Purdue. Capacity 57,236. The Boilermakers have an all-time record of 637, 589, and 48 for a winning percentage of 519. Their bowl record is above 500, 11 and 10. So good job on them. And they have won 12 conference titles. Last year, they opened the season with a disappointing loss at home in what was a great game, Chris. I
Yes, it
remember we
was.
both predicted that Purdue could win that game 35-31. They had them on the ropes last year to start the season. They dismantled Indiana State 56 to nothing. They then lost on the road in the is this still the Carrier Dome over there in
Yeah, I believe
Syracuse? I
so.
think so. 32-29. Then they went on a 4-game winning streak over Florida Atlantic, Minnesota, Maryland, and Nebraska. Some really nice wins there. Then they lost 2 in a row. Wisconsin, who was not the Wisconsin last year that we were expecting, but that was one of their lone wins, and Iowa, which ended up being one of the games that determined the outcome. And we thought Iowa might pull this thing out despite having just a horrific offense. But if as you recall, Iowa lost to Nebraska at the end of the year, and
Yeah.
that was that enabled Purdue to sneak into the Big Ten title with an 8-4 record. They beat Illinois. That was another huge win for them. They destroyed Northwestern, and then they beat their rival Indiana to finish off the regular season on a 3-game winning streak. So outside of the Wisconsin and Iowa losses there in the middle, and of course the Penn State loss in one of the crossover games, they went at one point 7-2 in a 9-game stretch, and 6 of those 7 wins were actually against Big Ten opponents, which is how they ended up getting to the Big Ten championship game. Vegas last year said they were a 7.5 win team. We both predicted 9-3 records for them. They went 8-4. Chris, we both won money on the Boilermakers last year. And so before we get any further, Chris, into um, this year's Boilermakers, what were your thoughts on last year's effort in making it all the way to the Big Ten championship game?
Well, it wasn't something that we didn't expect, Eric. We knew they could compete in the West. We knew that Iowa's offense was horrendous. And obviously, with the O'Connell kid, Aiden O'Connell at quarterback last year, anything was possible because next to CJ Stroud, I thought he had a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year as far as in the Big Ten. Now, obviously, we saw some big numbers a few times by McCarthy. We saw some by uh, uh, Talia at
Mm-hmm.
Maryland. But I'll tell you, Aiden O'Connell was up there in the mix a good portion of the year. Part of that was because their run game was less than stellar. Um, but you know what? I thought they had a good season, about where we expected they'd be last year. Kind of interested to see what they've got coming ahead of them this year, though, because as we know well, having a change, or after you've had such a good quarterback for the last few years, there's some questions to be answered.
Yep. Yep. Let's see if we can't get some of those questions answered by the Purdue experts from the Boiler Express podcast, Damon and Dylan. Come on in, boys. All right, welcome back to the OHIO podcast. And now we are with our Purdue experts from the Boiler Express
Ooh,
podcast. We
experts.
have Damon right below me and below Chris over there, my new best friend Dylan. And so we are excited to have from Big Banter our partners from the Boiler Purdue. I will try not. I refrain from saying Purdue for this episode here.
I appreciate
Purdue
that.
podcast.
That's
with
hard to
us
do.
tonight. Guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey man,
Yeah,
happy to
this
be
is
here.
awesome. Excited to be here and collab with you guys and see what's in store.
I even wore my all black just for you guys.
There you
so,
go. There you go.
yeah.
Hey, I'm excited, Eric. We might get a chance to see these guys this
We
year, right?
will.
Hey, there we go.
will.
You coming down
We
to
are
West
coming to
Lala?
West Lafayette.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Bad
we're
things
gonna...
happen there for you guys. I'm excited.
Thanks,
Well, let's just get the big elephant out of the room right now. Congratulations on being in the year since 2000, the one program in the Big Ten actually beats us from time to time.
We actually beat
As long as
us.
it's in West Lafayette.
Listen, I live in Ohio. I'm in Dayton, Ohio. So anytime Purdue beats Ohio State and football, swimming doesn't matter. I will come home talking all sorts of smack.
Hey, I did prepare for this for you guys. Did you guys know you won a national championship this past year?
What, like frisbee golf? What do we?
Field hockey.
Ballroom dancing.
Oh
Congratulations.
hell yeah! Look at
Let's
that.
go.
We did.
Hang the banner. What
Yeah,
are we
hang
doing?
that banner.
Oh, hey, IU.
Put it in
we
Mackey
do have
right now.
banners. We do have banners. Okay, thank you. That banner and our other banners on the moon. So think about that one, huh?
Oh, there you go. Oh, I love it. I looked that up. I was like, oh, that's too good. That's too
You
good.
can't let that pass up. We'll get there.
Beautiful, guys. All
I
right,
didn't
let's
even
jump.
know that was a thing.
I didn't either, but well, we've won 20 some consecutive synchronized swimming national championships.
Oh
And I was
my
like,
God.
what?
Holy
I'm like,
cow.
The
what is that?
Alabamas
And then
of swimming.
I looked it up. There's literally only 6 schools in the country that have it.
Are they all Midwest teams? I feel like it's
Well,
a Midwest thing to do.
it's no, it's like all like it's like Stanford and like
yeah.
Harvard and Yale,
The
and
smart ones.
we're the only one that has the money to throw at it. So we're like,
Right.
yeah,
You got disposable
do it.
income. Be like, just do it. Do what you want. Have
Yeah.
fun.
That
That's
and
awesome.
pistol. I mean, you can't beat us at pistol.
That's
I would
actually
think
kind of cool.
You would think Northwestern, being in the heart of Chicago.
Chicago.
should be awesome at pistol.
Yeah, you think they just be like, wow, like it's no
Like,
big
Maybe
deal.
they're better with Uzis.
they're like, that's not how you hold that.
Yeah.
I love it.
We probably just got flagged by YouTube right there.
I'm
Hey,
pretty
that's-
sure.
it.
That's a sign of a good podcast.
Oh,
It
I
really
knew
is.
when you guys would get me in trouble already. All right,
That's what we're known for.
let's start here, man. Let's rub some salt in the wound. I don't know. Maybe you like this. What do you guys feel about Jeff Brom going over to Louisville?
They can have him. No, I'm just kidding. No, he did great. He did great here. I loved his time here. As a guy who sat through all 4 years of Daryl Hazel, I will still sing Brom's praises. And you can't blame the guy for going home. I mean, how many guys played quarterback there? His brother was there. His dad went there. I mean, you can't blame him for going over there. And I mean, I think we share the same kind of sentiment, but yeah, I love the Brom era. It was a lot of fun. It brought life back to Purdue again.
Yeah, I think I'll have to say the same thing. Because I always think about it like if Dylan or myself, like whatever job we have now, we probably like it, we enjoy it. But if we ever got offered a job to work for media for Purdue sports, gone.
See ya.
Whatever job I had, yeah, I'm going. I'm going.
They
to
were
West
like, "Hey,
Lafayette
Dylan,
tomorrow.
you can sweep the floors at Ross 8." I'd be like, "All right, man. Like, I'll see you whatever. I'm there."
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like Dylan said, his whole family played there. He was his whole family's a legendary there. So you don't blame the guy for sure. I think when it first happened, it wasn't like we were mad at Jeff Brom. It was like, well, crap, what do we do now? Are we going to go back to square one? Are we going back to the dark times with Daryl Hazel? Are we going to is this program going to tank? We literally just came off of back-to-back 8-win seasons, which for us is a pretty big deal, especially with what we've had in the recent past. Where are we going to go from here? So I think that's where a lot of if there was any hate out there, which I know there's like a small crowd out there that's like, yeah, Jeff Brom, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's where it comes from, is just like the fear of the unknown. I think everybody liked what was happening, and they didn't want it to stop. So
Us Purdue fans have seen dark times, so we're a little, we've we've been through it.
Can we make fun of Jeff Brom for a second, though? How
Oh my
cringeworthy
God.
was that Louisville
We talked about
Top
it.
Gun? It happened right after Northwestern.
I said on our last podcast, it was like the Brett Favre Wrangler jeans commercials, but like shirtless. So like, I just imagine that the video guys at Louisville being like, "You remember Brett Favre's like Wrangler commercials? Let's do that."
Well, and then
Nobody
did you
has a
see
shirt.
the week after that came out, Louisville posted like a new position for like leader of like digital strategy or something for their football program.
That guy got fired real quick. They're like, "What the hell are we doing?" And
That may be the best hire they make this year.
yeah,
I
exactly.
just can't imagine what that conversation was like. All right, like Coach Brom, like I just imagine him talking to like Jack Plummer, because he played at Purdue. All right, Plummer, we're excited to have you back. I'm glad to see you again. We missed you at Purdue. So here's my idea. We're gonna take off our shirts. We're gonna wear capri pants, and we're gonna chest bump each other out while the sun sets behind us.
With Jeff's accent, I bet it was like, "You find the tightest britches you got, and you meet us down here at this field somewhere in Louisville." We have two guys on our podcast who live in Louisville currently, or they get mad at me for saying Louisville, or however.
That's
right.
Louisville.
You gotta say it like you got like a big wad in your lip or something. But so they have an interesting outlook on things, because not only are they Purdue fans, but they got to see Jeff Brom and Louisville everywhere. And I don't know. I always tell them birds don't have teeth, so never forget that.
Yeah, I will say though, it's crazy the way that Louisville and their fan base just totally flipped the script. Like when Jeff Brom turned him down the first time, he got taken out of the video package when they talk about all their great quarterbacks and everything. He got completely taken out of that, and then he comes home and it's like the prodigal son returns. So
change the mood real quick.
Yeah,
but good for him.
Speaking of changing moods, guys, tell us a little bit about Ryan Walters and how the fan base is interpreting
he's so
this guy.
cool.
How do they feel about him?
That's all we can say is he's so cool.
He's so cool. Huh?
He's so young and hip, and in with the youth. I mean,
he's what Purdue's never had. I honestly think
that's exactly
like
what it
in
is.
like a football coach.
So West Lafayette is a young hip town, huh?
No, but he is.
He makes it seem that way. That's what I posted when he was bringing in all these 4-star recruits. I was like, I think he could even convince my wife to let us move to Purdue at this point in time, because my wife hates West Lafayette. She thinks it's too cold and all sorts of stuff. But
he's Kevin Bacon bringing dancing to town, huh?
Hey, dude, we just keep saying, like, every time Purdue Creative, who's like the creative brain trust behind Purdue's athletics, whenever they post something with Ryan, Coach Walters, like, he just looks so cool. Like he did a recruiting video with the kid coming down the steps in Rossade, and the grass was dead because of the renovations. Like, everything was construction, and he still was like, this made it.
And
like,
he had a boot on too.
Yeah, and he had a boot on. I don't know if he's taking too much butt or what, but man, he can make anything look cool, and he's bringing a big energy to Purdue. Energy I don't think we've seen in a long, long time, even under Brom, because Brom brought energy, but it was a different type of. It's more of a.
He was super close to the vest. Didn't really talk about a lot publicly.
Yeah, put your boots on, go to work type energy, and so is Walters. But man, Walters just makes Purdue look cool again, and it's something I've been loving ever since he stepped foot on campus.
Yeah, and it's so like he's just so and just from like his very first interview when he got brought in, I mean, I think he quickly took out a lot of the what's the word? It's like totally leaving my brain right now. He got rid of a lot of the critics.
Yeah.
When his first interview, he was talking about how he's like, I want my kids to tell people that they grew up in West Lafayette, like that's where they're from. He was saying all the right things, and it just seems like he genuinely loves the place. I think whenever they even talked to him about it, he didn't even think twice about taking the job. He loved it. He thought it was cool. He thought, Purdue was the place to be. So, I mean, you got to love having somebody who loves your school being there. So yeah, I'm all about it.
I feel like Purdue fans can be hard to win over sometimes. We've seen dark times. 9 wins in 4 years. We've seen some crap. And so at first people are like, oh, it's another this, that, the other, another this guy, and he has
Blah
this.
blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah, very, nonchalant. But then he started doing what he started doing. Everyone was like, okay. Like, I saw people on Twitter who were so anti, Walters before he even stepped foot on campus, and now they're just, they're ready to sing his praises. And so the energy around that opening game against Fresno State, I believe, is going to be just electric. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I don't remember a year, an off season for Purdue football where there's been continuously just excitement from the time he got here in early December to now. Like, it's just not stopped. It's just gone and gone and gone. Like, I've never been this interactive still, like on checking on social media to see what's going on with the football program or anything. So it's awesome. It's fun. It's cool. The season hasn't started yet. Guy hasn't even played a game, and he's won over a lot of people.
So that leads me to my next question because I'm having trouble. It feels like out of all the teams in the Big Ten that I've started to do my deep dive in, I can't figure this one out. I don't know if there's going to be a drop off. If there is it going to be light, or is this a 3-4 win team? I don't know. Like, this is the one team in the Big Ten where I will not bet on Purdue. I ain't doing it. Like, I have no idea.
I don't think we know either. Like, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, the roster is just so different too. We've had a lot of guys leave, but he's also brought in a ton of transfers too, and good recruits in and everything. So yeah, I mean, honestly, this is his first time ever being at the head, but he's brought on some good, coordinators and everything. So yeah, I don't know what to expect either.
So really, like, you're honestly telling me, like, because the ceiling could be 10 wins. Floor could be 2.
Could
like,
be.
we don't know.
It can either go really, really good or really, really bad. It's just like,
we're
or
ready for both.
6-6, and we make a bowl game. That's like, I'm not gonna go in thinking we're gonna go undefeated and all that nonsense. But like a 6-6 season, I think is very plausible. Like, I don't, again, who knows? Like, I'm not into the guessing game. I kind of, you really don't know. And I mean, even the guys on ESPN don't even know half the time. So who am I to guess? With all the coaching turnover, transfer portal now makes everything so chaotic at times, and you don't know who you have one week to the next. So it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be sit at the start of your seat kind of year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Hudson Card, I'm super excited to see what he's going to do at quarterback with a guy like Graham Harrell calling the plays. I think we've got some good, somewhat unproven wide receiver core at this point in time that, maybe Card's going to come in and I'm not saying Hudson Card is Peyton Manning at all, but maybe he's going to come into Purdue like a Peyton Manning where he makes the wide receivers around him better. So maybe he's going to do something like that and, bring one of those guys out and put him in the limelight a little bit. I think our defensive line is going to be stellar. We've got Nick. It was Caraway, but now it's Gorton. I believe he just recently changed his last name. And we've got Kydron Jenkins, both outside linebackers. I think they're pretty solid. They brought in some really good defensive line transfers like Jeffrey Imba from Auburn. So yeah, it's a total coin toss. But if if we go 0-12 this year, but he changes our third quarter song from shout to literally anything else, sign him to an extension. Give that man all of our.
Yeah, I'll chip in a couple bucks if he does that. Have you guys ever been to a Purdue game yet?
Like a great song. Why are we dogging Shout?
Oh, dude, it's been
all right.
but
Let me paint the picture for you. Okay, it's the year 2014.
Yes,
You're down 45-0 going into the fourth quarter.
I'd have a lot to shout.
The stadium's at like 20% capacity, and some Joe Schmo they pull off the street is like, "Hey guys, it's time to stand up and shout."
No,
you just die inside.
It's tough, man. I think it's been. I mean, they've been doing shout for as long. I mean, I've been going to games since I was a kid, and I remember them doing shout. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
We've even given around some of Damon's had some hell of an ideas that we've thrown on our show. It's just tough, man, when you're losing to a MAC school in 2014 and They're just like, hey guys, let's party, and everyone's like, no, we're already at the tailgate. What are you
Our
talking about?
our third quarter song is "Hang On Sloopy."
See, that's a good one. You
Now, say,
can't.
do you do know that who Sloopy is? Don't you? It's not Snoopy. It's
No.
Sloopy. She was a whore.
Sloopy's got a yeah.
Look
I
it
wasn't.
up.
I was not expecting
Sloopy
that,
was
but I
not a
love it.
good girl.
My
No.
entire
Look it
life,
up.
I'm
Go
from Ohio, been raised
right.
around Ohio State fans.
Go
Thought it
look
was
the
Snoopy.
go look the lyrics up for "Hang On Sloopy," and you'll be like,
Wow.
"Wow, Ohio,
And
okay."
Ohio State's probably like, shh, we don't want anybody to know that.
Nah, hey man, we had a defensive back called Hooker. What's his first name? What was his first name? Played for Indy. Played for Indianapolis. Played for the Colts.
Oh, Malik.
Not Malik Hooker, yeah, because he had a brother too. And I wanted to make shirts that said "I love my hooker," and I was not allowed. So
Oh, that's good.
I mean,
would've done
went right along with Sloopy. I should have done. There you go. I love my hooker. Her name is Sloopy. That would have not probably gone over.
My entire life, I thought you blew my mind. I thought it was Snoopy this entire time.
It's Sloopy, man.
That's crazy.
She's a woman of the streets.
She's a woman. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, we're going to the Virginia Tech game this year, second game of the year, and we're excited to be part. I know I hate that it's a noon game, but it's going to be cool to be a part of like Enter Sandman when the team comes out and everything. That'll be cool.
Yeah. You know what though? You know what the Big Ten doesn't have? We're off the rails, but you guys, you're Boilermakers.
That's how we do things over
You
at
can
Boiler
get
Express.
it back on the rails. You guys.
The
play with
Express
trains.
is never on the rails. It's always off the rails.
You know what the Big Ten doesn't have is a big animal that runs onto the field. You can go over
You
in the
still
Big
want the
12.
buffalo, don't
You
you?
got the buffalo.
Listen, we have a gigantic train. Okay, we have a very large train.
And we got rid of our inflatable one finally.
It did break down halfway through the tunnel run out last year, but we won't bring that up.
But at least it wasn't Boomer Sooner, and the wagon literally came off the wheel.
I
How are
remember
those
that.
people
God, that was
alive?
terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Texas got a big bowl.
Yeah,
now that you say
the
that,
bowl
can
is
you
cool.
imagine Ed Orgeron coming out on a giant like panther or wildcat or something?
Hey, listen, if
We
Northwestern hires Coach O, I will be ecstatic. I will be so happy.
We need the Northwestern to change their name to like the Hippos or something, and just have a giant Coach O shirtless
Oh,
running
I
out
did-
a hippo.
That's a
When
sight I
Purdue-
could never unsee now.
After Brom left, I did a Photoshop of Coach O on the sidelines in Purdue gear and with the Purdue sideline. And Purdue fans were not happy about it. They were not thrilled. And I just did it for kicks and laughs. But people are like, you
Purdue
think we
fans
should
don't-
hire?
Purdue fans don't know anything. We were all thinking Les Miles was going to come to Purdue.
Yeah, I do remember
So-
that. That was dark times.
Eat the grass in West Lafayette. Huh?
hey, we got one of the best fields, I'll tell you.
Chris, get us back on the trail, on the right track, man.
So guys, we've seen some great quarterback play out of you guys the last couple of years. But what's going to be the strength of the team this season?
I think it's our defensive line. I think they're the most talented on the field. It's hard to say they're the most talented. I'm excited to see what Hudson Card can do, but I'm just going with what I know. So what I know are the guys that are there currently right now. I think our defense is going to be pretty good this year. I think our defensive line especially could do a good job holding the run. So
Totally
that's
agree.
what I'm going to go with.
I'm really excited to see the duo of Card and Mockabee. Devin Mockabee is a guy that doesn't get a lot of limelight, but the dude, he's a warrior, man. Like he puts his head down and runs downfield, and he had a great year last year. So I'm excited to see that combo. But yeah, what Damon says, the defensive line is going to be really good. Walters being a defensive, mind, is going to make really things interesting that way. I think it's the first time Purdue's had a defensive mind at the head for a long, long time. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do on that side of the ball.
And it's going to be interesting this year sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you'll probably be happy to know. I believe when we did our top 10 running backs in the Big Ten, Mockabee did make the list.
Let's
He
go.
did.
We thought he was going to be in there this year.
His family's the best. Great barbecue at tailgate. Shout out to Uncle Conrad. Shout out to that whole family. Uncle Craig. We're homies with the Mockabee family, and they great tailgate. Off the rails again. We'll go back on.
we had Devin's dad on the show. I can't remember what time it was around last year. But dude, we all left the podcast so inspired. He was just like that dad who has like a son that like he was just like, yeah, he's just super genuine guy, just a really good dude.
The best family, the first family of Purdue football. I've said it and I'll keep saying it. They're the best. They're the best.
Yeah.
My next question was going to be about recruiting, but you guys kind of already answered that one. That Walters is his cool factor has really
Yeah.
changed the recruiting for you guys. You guys are nailing down some good 4 stars that typically don't go to Purdue. You're more of a
Yeah.
developmental
Yeah.
college, and you're starting to nail down some guys that are higher ranked. So it is the cool factor, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I think it's the cool factor. I think he utilizes social media really well. Yeah, I think and like he's a super cool guy. I think I saw something where so Brom in his 5 years combined brought in I think it was 16 4-star players to Purdue. I think Walters since December has brought in 12. So I was drinking all of the Kool-Aid. I don't know what I was on the other day, but I was like, I think Walter's going to bring the first 5-star recruit to Purdue football sometime in the next year or two. That'd be awesome if it happens. But man, everybody's just having fun right now.
Okay,
And I
yeah.
think Walters came in at the perfect time when you have the renovations to Rossade, the new tunnel coming in, the south end zone being plugged up, the student section's moving down there. We got a new gigantic jumbotron that looks awesome. I mean, it's really a perfect storm when you have such an energy around a program, and then you hire a coach with that matches that energy, if not, brings it up a notch. I think Walters is just the perfect hire for right now. I think he just brings such a momentum, especially when it comes to recruiting. And when you look at facilities, which are a big part of recruiting, the facilities have been upgraded the last 2, 3, 5 years more than I think they have ever before. And you talk to
Shout out to the
guys.
Big Ten for all that money.
Yeah. That's really what it is. Thanks to you guys for being so good and then helping, appreciate it.
Well, it's good. It's good to be loved, like they say. And as we like to tell everybody, we obviously are Ohio State fans, and we are fans of whatever school is playing that team up north. So
Hey, we're the
if
same with
that's you, get
IU. Yeah.
yeah, I realize this. So I do a lot of work in Indiana for my job,
Okay.
and so I'm over there a lot in the Indianapolis area, and I work with a lot of engineers, which are all Purdue grads, like every single one of them, and they just hate Indiana. And
Oh
then you'll
yeah.
g- you'll get every now and then when we go to like a conference, there'll be an Indiana fan that just get picked on bad. It's
We do
something
that. I mean,
else.
we
It's
say IU sucks after every kickoff. Although I like it when we're winning. It's great, but when we're down to a MAC school like we were back in early 2010s, it's just like you can't chant IU sucks when we're losing to Eastern Michigan or South Louisiana Tech of the Blind. I don't know, like it doesn't have a good ring to it.
Doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, but like when we're beating them, and the student section, the Ross Aid Brigade, who's incredible, gives a real hearty IU sucks. Oh, Ern Mackey is the good one when we play at basketball. Purdue Indiana
Mhm.
basketball, Mackey, and that place will pop the roof off when somebody drops an IU sucks.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, ask that last one, man. I'm intrigued. This is my favorite question. I can't wait.
I'm stoked.
All right. Well, they already gave us a little bit of clue about where to find the best barbecue, Eric.
Yeah, we got to find
But
family.
we are coming to West Lafayette for the game this season. What should we expect, and where should we go?
Are you muted,
God,
Dylan?
am
Oh,
I?
you're good now. Oh,
Am I
I hear
good?
you now. I
I
saw your
once
lips moving and I didn't hear your voice
I
though.
once did a full podcast. I did do a full podcast, and my mic wasn't even on one time, so it could be worse. A lot of great restaurants. There's a lot of good food at Tailgate. We talk about the Mogby family, but there's been times, and people are so nice. It's that Midwestern, whatever, where you can just hop to different tailgates, and people be like, "Here's a plate, like here you go."
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bunch of good spots. You got Harry's, which is like, the A1 classic on campus. Eat AJ's. You got them. What else, Damon? Am I missing something?
Bruno's for
Bruno's.
pizza.
Yeah.
Triple X for a really good burger and a really good root beer.
Yeah.
Really, really freaking good root beer.
Oh, so good.
Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty small town. Like West Lafayette, outside of Purdue University, is pretty small. So there's not a whole bunch outside of like those main ones, at least that I know of.
Oh,
Anyway.
Mad Mushroom Purdue, friend of ours, great pizza. Their cheese sticks, wonderful, love them. That's another one. They're even friends of ours, so I can't believe I forgot them. That's
I
on
know.
me.
I feel
Sounds like
bad now that
better
you said
bring
that. I was like,
extra
oh yeah.
insulin, Rick.
What's that?
So it sounds like I better bring extra insulin.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah. You better bring you get a bigger size of drawers just a little bit so you can fit. Oh, dude, there's good eats
Wear,
everywhere.
wear the sweatpants that day.
Yeah, exactly. Forget jeans. Just wear the sweatpants.
All
Beautiful. Hey
right.
man, we're looking forward to it, guys. Like we're gonna have to meet up.
Absolutely.
Let you guys poke at us a little bit, and hey, look at these Buckeyes over here, and hopefully we represent Buckeye Nation well enough that people realize not we're not all jerks. I know sometimes our fan base can be a little obnoxious. Let's
Trust
just
me. If you
say.
look at my Twitter the
Confident.
last 10 years, listen, as a kid, I've been a Purdue fan my entire life. My dad went to Purdue, raised me as a Purdue fan, and so going to school in Ohio, growing up in Ohio, all of those people, like, why are you a Purdue fan? And I'm like, just don't worry about it, all right? Because the big thing I got as a kid was like, you live in Ohio, you have to be an Ohio State fan. And I'm like, now come on, like I get
Nah,
it.
man, go Bobcats. Oh,
Yeah,
you baby.
OU, you got Bowling Green, you got Kent State. I mean, there's, but and I went to Purdue, Ohio State. I forget what year it was. I was real young, and my dad and I went, and it was freezing cold. I mean, it was stupid cold, and they wouldn't let me sit down. I had to sit on my dad's lap. So I was like, I was probably like 4 or 5, probably too young, but my dad didn't care. And they wouldn't let me sit down. So every time Ohio State scored, which was frequently then, they would stand up, and Dad would be like, "All right," my dad would sit down, take your seat, get your seat. And they finally let us sit. But other than that, every time I've made a trip to Columbus, man, I got a lot of friends up in Columbus. I'm a big Columbus Crew fan. Love the Crew up there, so I'm there pretty often for matches. But other than that, I've had nothing but good things with Ohio State fans, even on Twitter. They can even be nice on there too.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
No, I have we have two friends. I have two friends that come on the show. One's a Penn State guy, and the other
Wow.
one's a Michigan fan. And man, they hate us because I guess one of the things we know is when things are going well for us, we like to,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Drive it home.
yeah. And it's most of us who grew up in the '90s who suffered under John Cooper's
Oh yeah.
reign of terror from Ohio State. But anyways, guys, this was a ton of fun, man. We will definitely have to do some special things the week of the Purdue game, Purdue and Ohio State. We'll do a special preview show with you guys. You ever need us to come on your show? I'm there just for the entertainment value, man. I think your guys' show is freaking fantastic. I love it.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I
When
appreciate that a
I
lot.
listen to the end and you're like, if someone's still listening, and I'm like,
And you got
yeah.
send me your Cash App, Venmo. I'll
I'm
send you that
not
$5.
doing that, dude. I'm
I'm
not,
anybody that besides me that
We'll
calls
help with
Russ
the
old.
gas money driving to West Lafayette.
there,
The funny
there
thing
you
is, I'll
go.
give Russ isn't even the oldest one on the podcast.
No, he's not.
He's an old soul, so I make fun of him and I'm the youngest, I think by a mile. I'm 27.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, how I thought you okay, I thought you're like 28, 29, right?
I just turned 30, but I wouldn't say a
God.
mile. That sounds like
Okay,
that's a
by a little
large
bit.
leap.
Kids, Chris, they're kids.
We're youngins. I'm youthful.
What are you talking about, Eric? I got at least a decade on you.
I
Oh my
know.
oh man,
I know.
we're young. So
Uh,
we just make fun. Russ is an old soul. So I mean, he takes it on
I'm
the
just an
chin.
old body, so
Damon, tell everybody where they can catch up with the Boiler Express podcast, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're all over the place. We're on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's Boiler Express or Boiler Express Podcast on each of those platforms. So check us out. Love to have you there. Tell us how stupid we are, or tell us how much you like the show. Either way, we're just happy to have you. So
Yeah, best part of Big Banter so far is all the collaboration
It's been
that
so
we've
much
had
fun.
so
yeah,
far. It's
been
been
great.
great. We've really appreciated it. Make sure you check out their show, guys. If you're on Twitter, follow them, especially this guy. Let's see if I can get this right. That guy over there on
Uh-oh.
Twitter. Oh man, if you smoke cigars, he's always asking, "What do you want? What should I go
Hey,
get?"
listen.
You
Get the
know.
stogies out. We'll have to share one outside of the stadium. It's prohibited inside, but we'll
that's
figure it
right.
out.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I'll be bringing you some. Don't you worry,
Let's
my
do it.
man.
I'm down, man. I
I'll
can't
bring you
wait.
some. I'll bring you a good stash there.
Hopefully,
So
it's a victory cigar for me.
probably not. No.
Probably not. Probably not.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on, and we really truly appreciate it. We'll be catching up with you guys soon. Chris, we've collaborated with a lot of people in the 5 years of this show.
Yes.
We have talked to a lot of fans. We have interviewed a lot of former Buckeyes and people in the media. That might have been one of my favorite segments we've ever done.
they were just cool dudes, Eric. There's no other way,
Yeah.
but they are cool dudes. Uh,
They
just great, and they love obviously they love their Purdue football. Very knowledgeable about their team. Actually, just a great collaboration with those guys.
Yep, looking forward to that, man. Thank you so much, guys. That was a lot of fun. All right, let's dive into Purdue's projected starting lineups, Chris. So, Aiden O'Connell is out at quarterback. In is the transfer Hudson Card, the redshirt junior. Of course, they've got one of the better running backs in the Big Ten returning back, Devin Mockabee, who, by the way, was a walk on. Dude
Yeah.
was a walk on and is a stud. On the offensive line, they do have some returning starters, but they also have a transfer and senior Jalen Grant. Gus Hartwig is a senior. Daniel Johnson is a graduate senior. Marcus Mbau is a redshirt sophomore. And Mohamed Musa. We are uncultured swine. Just the way it is. So redshirt sophomore. I will have to ask them boys how you pronounce that. They might not even know that one. I don't know. Tight end Garrett Miller is going to try to replace Payne Durham, who went to the NFL. Garrett is a redshirt senior, but those are some big shoes to fill in the passing game with Payne Durham. And speaking of the passing game, over at wide receiver, Charlie Jones is gone, but Marshawn Rice is back, or Mershawn Rice, and
Hmm.
Corey Gamage, a redshirt senior transfer, is in, as well as TJ Sheffield, a redshirt senior as well. So they have some experience at upperclassmen at the wide receiver position. The question will be, can the offensive line block well enough and give Hudson Card enough time to feed the ball to them on offense? Chris, that is the offense for Purdue. This is a new look Purdue team with a defensive minded coach. I think this offense is going to take a significant step back.
I think it is, Eric, but I think it might be a good step back because what I think was we're going to see Purdue return to a power run game with Mockabee in there. Like you said, there's a lot of senior beef, or a lot of upperclassmen beef on that line. As we all know, the offensive lineman would much rather run block than pass block anyhow.
Right.
They get to be more aggressive that way, get a shootout, and be on the attack a little bit more. So I think you're going to see a return to the run game. However, I think that's going to benefit Houston Card, who, going back, he has a lot of talent. He's a very talented kid. Coming out of high school, was highly recruited. Um, I really feel like this could be a different but very successful offense.
Okay. All right. Let's flip it over to the defensive side now, Chris. Defensive line again. They went to the transfer portal big time this season, and that seems to happen in college football more and more when you have a new head coach. And we're seeing it significantly on the defensive side. Defensive lineman Jeffrey Mba, a senior, is going to be there. Cole Brevard, a redshirt junior, and Malik Langham, a redshirt senior. So two transfers on the defensive line. Clyde Washington, a redshirt junior at linebacker, as well as OC Brothers, a redshirt senior. Nick Caraway is a sophomore, and Kydron Jenkins is a senior at the linebacker position. Jake Graham, former linebacker, was drafted in the NFL this past year. At the cornerback position, again, two transfers. Salem Turner Muhammad, a senior, and Marcus Wilson, also a senior. And then Corey Trice was drafted as well from last year's team. Safeties, you got Sanusi Kane, he's a senior, and Cam Allen, a redshirt senior. So a lot of upperclassmen here. If all of these guys are going to be the starters, and then there at special teams, again, upperclassmen, you got a senior kicker in Ben Freehill and a junior punter and Jack Ansel. Defensively, Purdue's interesting to me because, again, you have a defensive minded coach now. You've got a lot of transfers. You got a lot of moving parts in there. I don't think they've got a lot of depth. Even though there's a lot of upperclassmen, there's not a ton of experience there. I'm wondering how much he can get this defense, because if this defense isn't good, even though he might be a defensive minded coach, then Purdue might be in for a tough season,
And I
given
think,
the
yeah,
fact their offense might take a step back here.
and I think that's what we're going to see. I think the defense is going to struggle a little bit. I do like a couple of the pieces they like. I like Kydron Jenkins, who comes off the edge. I like uh, Nick, the linebacker. He's a sophomore, and I just lost his name, Eric.
Oh, let me
Um,
look real fast for you, man. Nick Caraway.
Nick Caraway, thank you.
Yep.
Those guys both have a lot of talent. I think they could be solid players. Um, but I don't have a lot of faith as far as them, especially in their defensive backfield. And I think that with some of the quarterbacks they're going to see this year, that could be an issue.
It very well could be. Well, the time
Especially when
will
you start
tell.
talking about the West. And again, you look at the West, and Cincinnati's got the kid from SMU who moved up there. He's going to see him. I think you've got Cade McNamara, who's a proven commodity at quarterback. He's not going to take the top off the offense, but if he has the time, he can sit back there and pick a defense apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they've got some guys they're going to have to face this year. Offenses that maybe weren't very good last year that are going to be putting up some points this year.
All right, let's take a look at the 2023 schedule for the Boilermakers. So right off the bat, 3 non-conference games to start the year off. Boom, boom, boom. Right off the bat, you got a home game against Fresno State, a road game against Virginia Tech, and then a home game against Syracuse in that home and home series. You got to at least come away, in my opinion, 2 out of 3 there. And that's not going to be easy because even Fresno State is not a pushover.
Vatek's
You're
a tough place to play.
Virginia Tech is going to be rocking, and Syracuse nipped you last year. Um, if you can win those 2 home games and be competitive on the road, that's a win for you. Then they come right into conference play hosting Wisconsin, and you and I both have a prediction that the
Yeah.
Badgers are going to be very good this year. And then they host Illinois again. That is not an easy game, man. And
No.
we're going to preview them here next week. And that defensive line at Illinois is for real.
Yes.
So that's not going to be an easy game. Then you go on the road at Iowa. That ain't easy. Then you host Ohio State. 4 tough, tough Big Ten games to start your Big Ten season before you get a bye week. And then it doesn't get a whole lot easier. You're at Nebraska, a team that's got a little bit of juice with a new head coach. You're at that team up north. They just won the Big Ten 2 years in a row. Then you host Minnesota. They're not bad either.
But
Then
they
you
got those
fi-
last 2 games.
then you finally get some dubs, man, at Northwestern and versus Indiana. And I can already tell that this is not right because that is not your prediction. I do not believe there. I must have had that from last year. I apologize, Chris. Unless that is. I don't think you predicted them to go 7-5, did you?
You know what, Eric? I don't recall. I could find out for you real quick.
I tell you what. Let me look that up for you.
Okay.
We'll look that up in just a minute. Vegas says 5 wins. I'm at 4-8, and I'm feeling like that might be what they really get this year. It's 4 W's. I find it tough to find
Well,
6 wins on the schedule
I
and for
think
them to
they
go
get
bowling.
4. I do think they get 2 in the non-conference. They get 2 in Northwestern Indiana. I think
Okay.
those are solid. They're going to be tough pressed. They could sneak up and maybe hit. Maybe they come out 3-0 out of that non-conference schedule. It's possible.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I
yeah.
stand corrected, Chris. You got them with 7 wins.
Okay.
You have
So
them
I
beating
think probably
you
the 3 non-conference.
you have the 3 non-conference, Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, Indiana.
And I think those are possible
So you and I disagree.
for the
You say
first time
take
this year.
Yeah, we've been very close in our predictions. This is one we are very opposite in. I don't know. Maybe those Purdue guys wore on you a little bit there. They got you drinking some of that Purdue juice, man.
Yeah, I do think, Illinois is a winnable game because it's at home. I think by then Houston Cards should be settled in.
Okay.
Um, and then I think Nebraska was the other one at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Matt Rule is going to be good for Nebraska, but I don't think that he's going to be that good just yet.
Okay.
I think he's got a lot of things he's going to have to put in place.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Well, it's time to hear what Branson Jensen from Big Banter thinks about this year's Purdue Boilermakers. Brandon, why don't you tell us what you think on the over under for them this year?
So I'm Brandon Jensen, lead betting analyst at Big Banter Sports. Glad to be on the show. We'll go to Purdue at 5.5. So their over is juiced at plus 125. The under is minus 145. For a team coming off a Big Ten championship appearance, most would often say 5.5's got to be insulting. But losing Brom to Louisville, losing their quarterback, best receiver, and a plethora of other talent, with 2 Power 5 out of conference games, in addition to the conference gauntlet that you have in the Big Ten, it's going to be hard to find bowl eligibility this season. If everything meshes right with Hudson Card coming in from Texas, under Graham Harrell's quarterback-friendly offense, they could fight for 6. But as it stands, I have to bet the under at minus 145.
All right, Chris, final thoughts on the Purdue Boilermakers for 2023. Out of all the teams in the Big Ten, this has been the most difficult team for me to kind of predict. And so I'm going to stay on the more conservative side and say new coach, some new schemes. There's a lot of good feelings over there in West Lafayette, like we heard from the Boiler
Mhm.
Express boys. But I don't know, man. This could be a two
This
and
could be a 4-8, or this could be an 8-4. I truly believe that.
I'm going to take 4-8. You're going to take the 7-5.
I am.
I feel better about the 4-8 than I do your 7-5, or otherwise I probably would have predicted it'd be a little higher.
Eh, yeah, I can see that, but you know what? I really feel like they've got some potential wins. They're going to sneak up on somebody.
Yeah,
God willing, it's not Ohio State, who they have been a thorn in our side for, since the year 2000. They've been the biggest
indeed.
thorn in our side.
Isn't it crazy?
Uh,
That's the team that seems to play against Ohio State better than anybody else is the Purdue Boilermakers, and we're going to see that in person. We're going to go to West Lafayette and see what the Boiler Express boys have in store for us when we go there. It's going to be a lot of fun, Chris. You know what? This is why you play the games and you don't do it on paper.
that's right.
Just for a team just like this. So, all right, guys, please like, share, subscribe, all those good things. It really does help. We want to thank the Boiler Express guys for joining us for this preview. Make sure you check out this upcoming Thursday. The Iowa Hawkeyes are next. We're going to talk about them, another West Division team that's got some pretty high expectations. We're going to break them down and see where we think they're going to land in the pecking order in the West. So come back and check it out on Thursday, everybody. Until next time, OH.
IO.
Goodbye.